No, sir. The House budget was basically budgeting just what's currently there. We really didn't go to any extremes in terms of looking at all the different organizations throughout the Commonwealth. So to answer your question, honestly, no, it's not in there right now, but we are working to put that in there. I feel optimistic, but you know how the budget process goes.
Right. Well, usually, and certainly, I know your bill probably will pass here today, but normally on these bills, we send it to A&R once it comes through this budget because it does have an appropriation in it, because it does go to the budget. So I'm going to support it. I was in aviation when I was in the service. A lot of people don't realize Marines have planes, but we did, and I worked on them. So.
Well, Senator, if you don't mind, I'll follow up. But one thing that, even though there's not a definitive number in this bill, the important thing, we're setting up the framework. We're setting off the launching pad, if you want to call it that, in order for us to do things. Because as the years goes on, maybe next year there could be a potential that we can address this and doing that. Because I know that's been discussions in the House about doing that. But this is important, just to set up the framework in order to make that happen.
Well, I like it that you've set it up as public-private partnership. So appreciate the bill. Thank you.
Senator Mills.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just want to make a few comments and compliment the two sponsors that are here today for thinking forward. As Senator Storm mentioned, in Madisonville Community College, KCTCS, we're just a few miles from a military base in Clarksville that has a lot of military avionics and folks that come out of that wanting to get into the business, whether it's helicopters, fixed wing, and we are actually seeking some funding for some equipment. And as they said, the equipment's very expensive. And it's something that once they get their hands on, they can maintain and teach from for several years. But getting their hands on the equipment is very important to the success of the program. So compliment both the gentlemen that are here today presenting this bill, and I'll be voting yes. Thank you.
Senator Funke Fromar.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. And Rep. Fleming and Senator Storm, thank you so much. In Northern Kentucky, CVG is just an absolute explosion of need because there is an explosion of airplanes. But the interest that seems to start with a middle schooler, when we can get some of our kids curious and more educated, is that part of some of the public aviation program? Is there any framework that can get this in front of 6th, 7th, and 8th graders? So that if you're leading now into some of the high school, if the area technology centers, I've seen that budding a little bit, not enough, but a little bit in my Senate district. So there's a little bit of framework in high school, but can we get it even further back? Because we're losing a lot of curious middle schoolers, and this is right up the alley of that type of education.
Senator, the intent is to focus on the high schools and so forth. I know there's quite a few programs, particularly in Jefferson County. There's a Flight 502. Those individuals that participate in that, they're 6th, 7th, and 8th graders and 9th graders. And they work in cooperation with high school programs in order to go through that. So it's inherent, the way I look at this. And it's embedded that you bring in the middle schools into this program. Like I said, there are vocational schools to do that. It's going to be a partnership between the public schools and private independent schools in order to implement this. So, to give you an example, you can take let's say Storm Middle School, and Fleming High School. You can work with some, say, Jefferson County public schools or JCTC in Jefferson County, and do a cooperation, and the money can basically flow through that university or the two-year school to help out both of those programs in high school as well as middle school to doing that. So even though it might not be explicitly say here, it does address the vocational and high school programs in order to make a cooperative effort and do that. So once again, the key word here is partnership and being creative and thinking outside the box. And that's why I want to try to keep it somewhat flexible and as much as possible to bring as many people into the loop.
Yeah, please do.
I really appreciate this. This is innovative. It's innovative and it's a need for our kids, and I'll definitely be a yes on this. Thank you.
Last question we have, Senator Boswell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think I'm going to be in favor of this bill. I'd like to know more about it later, but I do have a couple questions. So about the amount of money that's needed. There's a mention here of 1.5 million. I think that's only for administrative, not to exceed. But if I understood you correctly, you'll say it's the overall ask is going to be around 15 million.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
that's correct. Yes.
Okay. Do you have an idea? Do you anticipate what's going to happen to this program, say in 10 years?
Well, a couple things, and he may want to follow up, but a couple things on page 11. You'll note beginning on line 19. By December 1st of each year, the council shall collaborate with the advisory committee to submit a written report to the Legislative Research Commission for referral to the Interim Joint Committee on Education, the Interim Joint Committee on Transportation, and the Interim Joint Committee on Appropriations and Revenue, Budget Revenue, Subcommittee on Education. So basically, we envision that there's going to have to be analytics presented to all these different committees to make sure that this is functioning properly in the way we envision it as a General Assembly. And so there will be accountability, number one. And then secondly, if you'll note, it's in here, I believe, on page 13, beginning at line 24, sections 1 through 6, this act shall expire or have no effect or force or effect after June 30th, 2030, unless extended by an act of the General Assembly. So it's a sunset provision. So basically, in the event this isn't working out, then it's not going to continue. But if it is working out and there's verified documentation that can be supported and presented to all these committees, and if they want to extend it, that being the body of the General Assembly, they would have the authority to do so at that time. I hope that answers your question.
I think it helps, and I do have just two other small questions. So you mentioned the word "can" several times. Industry can participate. Do you have people that are waiting on the sidelines, private groups right now that are waiting on the sideline to put money in this because it was mentioned of the word they can participate in this state?
Senator, yes, we have very strong interests, and I'm not at liberty to say at this point, and I wish I could, but there's going to be a significant amount of money that could be applied to put into this. So yes, there are quite a few industries that are very interested in participating.
And my last question is that how is this going to affect? Are there not private pilot schools in the state of Kentucky currently? And if there are, and I think there are. And I understand that the private schools are not, they're fairly expensive.
Private school.
And so that may be part of your equation, but I just wonder what your thoughts are about it. I certainly don't want to be in the business of putting out a private enterprise that's doing this.
Senator, it really doesn't include private pilot schools, because when I got my license, I went to school, and I took my written test and so forth. And then be honest with you, when you look at private school, you basically will get somebody who's 30 or somebody who's 60 who participate. That we want to get the individuals to go through more of a formal credentialing process that has a long-term objective to participate in any aspects of aviation. Because I fly for fun. I owned an aero surveying company for many years, and my pilots, went to schools and so forth. That's what something was for. But it's for private schools to participate. That's not really the intent of this.
I understand. All I'm saying is, and this is my final comment, I just want to make sure we're not competing with the private schools in order to maybe pull those students away and then essentially putting them out of business. Thank you.
We do have one member, from the audience who has signed up on our guest list to speak with the bill, that being Robert Riggs. Robert, if you're present, representing the Kentucky Aviation Association, the Aviation Museum of Kentucky, I'm going to let you proceed to the table. If you would introduce yourself for the record, please, and we'll give you some time here to speak. And it doesn't say if you're speaking for or against the bill, just the bill number, so I'll let you proceed, though.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator, and appreciate this opportunity. I think this is a great bill, and I've already discussed with the sponsors my concerns, and they are ready to work with us and make us go forward on this bill, because we do need it badly. And answer your other question, on page 1, it talks about certified flight programs that are FAA Part 141 schools. So they have to be a certified school to participate in this program. Perfect. Thank you.
We have a motion from Senator Girdler. I heard a second from Senator Mills. At this time, we will take a roll call vote. Sasha, please call the roll.
Senator Boswell. Yes. Senator Funky Fromeyer. Yes. Senator Gardler. Yes. Senator Harper Angel.
Explain my vote, please.
Please explain your vote. Proceed.
I just want to thank the legislators for bringing this legislation. I have a very good aviation school in my district, which I've toured. It's Shawnee High School, and they have their own building, the aviation school. The kids are so excited to be there and doing very well, and this is a great investment for us. So thank you very much.
Senator Howell.
Aye.
Senator Mills.
Aye.
Senator Storm. Aye. Senator Thomas. Senator Wheeler.
Aye.
Senator Wilson.
Aye.
Chairman Wise.
Vote aye. We have a unanimous vote today. I also want to thank you for the scholarship opportunity that presented within here. And I think also what Senator Funky Fromeyer was mentioning of getting in early at that middle school level. I think as this grows, we're going to see the popularity grow in those younger ages too. So thank both of you all for bringing this to us this morning. This